What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have so much important information to go over in today's video. SPCE stock is straight up exploding. They have some awesome news, and they are a space stock. We're going to be talking about what's happening here, but on Friday, it had its best day ever, popping up about 39%. So we're going to be covering that and then a ton of other important news and great plays for the rest of this week. We have a $42 million trade that we're going to be covering at the end of today's video. So make sure you stick around for that. Like I said, we have a ton of great plays in today's video. So make sure you stick around. But Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, everyone's always said SPCE was my stock. Too bad I'm not holding it anymore. But man, it is exploding up 38%. CNBC reports that this is due to an amazing catalyst, and the FAA finally approves their passenger spaceflight license, and they can finally start to send people into space. They have a 20% short float, and overall, it was a great move out of the stock, moving to the upside, and they've had some amazing catalysts over the past couple months. The first one being back here when they started popping from $20 up to around $30 for about a week after they had a successful test flight. And then now they got approved by the FAA after all these test flights and everything that they've been doing has been going well. So it's looking very good. The company has about 600 reservations right now, and they sold it at different prices between $200,000 and $250,000 each, worth $135 million total. So they already have some reservations going. And I'm sure if some people go up into space and have some awesome pictures and some good experiences and come back down, they'll make a lot more money and get a lot more reservations.
Absolutely. So this is like actually some crazy news. Guys, let's keep in mind that this is a space tourism company. So like they, according to the FAA, they have their space flight license, for tourism. So that's just awesome news overall. And it really is a crazy catalyst. And it explains why, this stock had so much money flowing into it on Friday and why it popped up 39%. And then on top of this catalyst, this stock also had a decently high short float, which was around 20%. So there's even a little bit of potential for a short squeeze. Tom, do you have any levels for us? Any projections, any support and resistance, anything?
Yeah, we're actually getting up to those all-time highs. The all-time high is right around 62.90, and there was a pretty good double top there for those couple of days where it was at those highs. And there's another key resistance right around $60. So it looks like right around 60 and then up towards 63 is where the resistances are right now. If it does start to go down, I see a pretty good support level here around $50. So hopefully it could hold that, but we're up a lot right now. And I would say if we don't break 60, we might start to head back to the downside. But I have a good feeling with all this good news, we have a lot of potential to possibly break that and keep going up. But we'll just have to see how it ends up playing out this week. And honestly, this was just so much hype on Friday that it went up so much, like 40%. It worries me a little bit, but man, whenever SPCE runs, it really likes to go, and hopefully it can break out.
Absolutely. So definitely keep your eyes on SPCE for this week. It definitely has a lot of momentum. But Tom, what else is happening in the market?
We have the SPY at all-time highs. We have the QQQ right around all-time highs. They dipped down a little bit on Friday, but they're really close. And man, we have a lot of economic data coming out this week. And the first one I want to talk about is the jobs report reported by investing.com. And they said the June non-farm payrolls report is expected to show that the economy added 675,000 new jobs, pushing the unemployment rate down to 5.7% from 5.8%. So overall, sounds like they're expecting some good jobs numbers this week that might help the overall market. Like it might help the SPY, it might help the Dow. And there's a lot of concerns right now over rising inflation and the strength of the recovery. And really, it's just what people are thinking right now with the market. And they're looking at other statistics like the labor market statistics. And they're also looking at like wage growth and labor force participation and stuff like that, with people kind of staying home and not really looking for jobs as much as they have in the past. It might impact the jobs market a little bit, and just some of these economic numbers coming out later this week.
All righty. And then is there any news with like oil stocks or anything like that?
Yeah, there's actually some OPEC news this week, and they're just gonna have another meeting. They have meetings every month and like every couple weeks, but this is actually OPEC plus, and they're gonna hold a meeting this week on Thursday, and they're expected to just pretty much result in another boost in output. And they've been talking about boosting their output for quite a while now. And it's kind of actually helped oil go up. And we can see oil's all the way up to around 74.25, right around that $75 a barrel mark. It's actually kind of skyrocketing right now. And honestly, I would expect them to try to combat this sharp rise here and try to make oil kind of fall back down. But keep in mind that even if they hike their outputs, or even if they do anything like that, it might not affect the oil market. The oil market's pretty strong all on its own. And while they do have a lot of influence there, it might not, make oil fall. The inflation still might be too rapid for them to kind of, to keep the price down.
Sounds good. Well, let's get right into our member of the day and then the momentum plays. Today's member of the day is Spacely. Huge shout out, Spacely. Thank you so much for being a great member, a great supporter, especially on the YouTube channel. You're always so positive and you're leaving great comments, and you definitely deserve a shout out. So thank you so much for being a great member, Spacely. But now let's get right into our momentum plays. We have a couple of good ones this week, Tom, starting with JD.
Yeah, and JD looks actually very nice right now. You can see on the daily chart, it had a great Friday. And whenever we go look at the 5-minute chart, make it pass above 78.50 tomorrow.
All right, with the next one, we have Uber.
Uber, go ahead and make them move up above 51.85.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Baba.
Baba, they've been really killing it. Make them break up above 230.25, their high of Friday. And man, they had a good day, up 4.6%.
Absolutely. So we are watching these 3 plays for potential day trades to the upside, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. Like I said, just for potential day trades, but they have to break above the levels Tom listed. But Tom, you sniped Baba last week. Tom called out Baba calls on, what was it, like June 14th or so, and started to close out on Friday, and it was almost a 50% return. So awesome job, Tom. If you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, plus get access to our day trading, swing trading, order flow bots, make sure to click the first link in the description down below. You'll save about $40. Of course, not every single play wins, but in general, it's been really hot, so definitely check it out. And we also are, this is the last week of the coupon, so definitely check it out if you want. You can cancel it anytime. This is the last week of the coupon. And then let's get right into the $42 million trade for this week. We are looking at the SPCE 60 strike calls that expire this Friday. And Tom, I know this one's really tough to say because, when you have a 39% up day, a ton of volume flowing in, and then at the same time, when you have an amazing catalyst, it's hard to get a good judgment on a move like this. But I'm going to lean more towards the fact that the smart money is shorting these calls because they are pretty far out of the money. And then IV is getting pretty high. And I just can see this as like a covered call or something like that.
I really could too. And the fact that it's $42 million, that's a lot of money, especially on something as risky as this. And if they were just going long on this, they would be really looking for a lot of momentum. And I would just have a feeling that $60 resistance is just too, it's too much of a coincidence that they did it right on that resistance level. So I'm kind of with you. I think that they're shorting it as well. And while I think SPCE could still go up, who knows? I would hope though that they're shorting it given how much money is on this and just how how big that resistance has been in the past. So I'm with you. I would think that they're shorting it kind of at that key resistance as well.
All right, well, let's get right into the previous video's questions. And with the first one, we have Avosi saying, can you talk about SWN in today's video? Looking to buy a few hundred shares or maybe sell puts for a few months. What do you think? So SWN, let's check it out. I like if you were to sell puts on it. We don't really trade penny stocks too much, but this one, it doesn't seem too bad. Of course it is risky because you look at that long-term chart and it's just brutal. It was lingering right around like $50 or so. You could say, I don't know, about 10 years ago. And now they're really struggling. They're all the way down to like 6. So I don't think it's bad to sell puts on. It's definitely a really risky setup, but selling puts is always a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, it looks like it could possibly be a comeback play, but just keep in mind, it's definitely been beaten down so much that it's scary to play. Even if it does have potential to come back to 20 or 25, it definitely is a scary stock to trade. given how much it got beaten down.
Alrighty, with the next comment, we have Ryan saying, great video as always. What do you think about TSCO and HD as possible swings? Let's check it out. TSCO. What do you think about this one, Tom?
I liked it earlier in the year whenever it was on its way up. Right now, I'm just more of neutral on it. I think it could start to pop up here. It looks like it hit a support around like 170, maybe like 170, 171 level, came right back up here. Now it's back up to like that 180 support as well. So I'm not sure about this one. I would be just more neutral on it. I think it could start to go back up if we start to see like the value stocks go up again. But with this transition we're seeing, I wouldn't be surprised if this one continued to fall for like a couple more months.
Yeah, I'm pretty neutral on that one too. Like I don't think it's bad, but at the same time, it's not like an amazing setup. Maybe if it retested that 170 support, I would consider it, but it's just not like an amazing setup. And then if we check out Home Depot, I kind of feel the same way with Home Depot. Yeah, I'm just gonna be pretty neutral on it. Maybe if it retests that 300 support, I would consider something, but for right now, I'm just gonna pass.
Yeah, and they have that resistance coming up right around 320, so it's kind of getting close to that also.
All righty. With the next comment, we have Outlaw saying, yo, Mike and Tom, Palantir is moving up. Yes, it is. A lot of people are watching this one, and I'm glad to see it finally popping back up. The past, past couple months have been brutal for Palantir, hitting highs of 45 and then slowly just falling to like 17 to 18. And now it's finally starting to pop back up. I like them for the long term, and I love the way that they're trending. Tom, what are like some of the next major resistance levels for Palantir?
Yeah, there's actually a huge one coming up right around 2750 on Palantir. That's a huge level. And we actually got pretty close to that on Friday. I think we hit right around $27. Yeah, we hit that 27 resistance on Friday. So on an intraday level, look at 27, but on the daily, definitely look more like 2750, somewhere like right around there. You can give or take about 50 cents off that 2750 level. So it could definitely get interesting next week. A lot of people have been kind of thinking that this could kind of consolidate back down, but man, there's been so much momentum, and there was actually a lot of volume came in Friday, and I would not be surprised if we saw a continued breakout, maybe somewhere up towards that 30 resistance that would come after like the 27-ish area. So I would think it could do pretty good. And man, Palantir on that May 11th earnings day, they said that their company was like due to have like double the growth over like the next couple years and stuff like that, I believe. And man, it was just such a good earnings day for them, and they just had such good growth, such a good outlook right there that it really helped their stock turn around. And man, I would not be surprised if it just continued to break out.
While you mentioned earnings, I have to bring up Nike. This thing exploded on Friday. They had some pretty solid earnings. They had a 15.5% update, which is huge for a company like Nike. And, I was looking at some of the options for July 2nd, and, some of these call options are already up like 2,000% just on Friday alone with this crazy move. So just keep an eye on Nike. They have a lot of momentum, and they have they had a really solid earnings. So just make sure to keep an eye on it for this week. Then we have Celebrity saying Wish is going to the moon. Let's check it out. I saw it had some increased mentions on Wall Street Bets, and Tom, I'll be honest, it's kind of holding its levels, and it's slowly trending up there.
Yeah, it is. And man, if it could start to break out above $15, we could start to see a pretty big move here. But wow, I mean, it's definitely, like you said, holding its ground and just kind of consolidating up here at the top for a few days. And it's starting to worry me a little bit, but man, it's so nice that it's consolidating there. And there's a lot of volume coming in. So I would not be surprised if we saw another breakout with this one too. And on the 5-day, 15-minute, it honestly looks pretty good. Like it's just stair stepping up pretty nice. It hit off that like 1380 support twice on Friday. There is an upper resistance though, like I said, right around 15. So be careful of that. But man, Wish is starting to heat up, and I'm starting to hear lots of traders talk about it. Their short float is pretty high as well. And man, it's just one of those stocks that everyone's looking at for another pop. And hopefully it kind of pulls like an AMC or a GameStop. I think it would be pretty nice to see.
All right. And then we have Luck asking about our thoughts on CLF. He was thinking about some short-term calls. So honestly, I'm not a fan of the setup. That does not mean it's bad, but it's just I would never, do this. I just don't like the way it's moving right now. Friday had a pretty bad day. closing down almost 3%. Yeah, it's definitely not for me.
Yeah, me either. It's just right now it's kind of, I think, like on the end of it's kind of like it's run up as well. Kind of just looks like it's starting to downtrend a little bit. So that's my main concern with it, is that it just kind of looks like it's going to be going down now. And just keep in mind, there's a pretty big support here around $20. And if it breaks that, just look for more movement to the downside.
All right. And then we have Cody saying, been watching you guys every night before bed for months now. First comment, but my favorite show. So love to hear that, Cody. Thanks so much for commenting. It really helps us out. And thank you so much to everyone else who left some comments on the previous day's video. But then we have Brian saying, TRCH. Bought the low of day today, sold that covered call, money. Let's check it out. TRCH. Yeah, I mean, it's not looking bad. It had a good day on Friday, and it sounds like he had a pretty good entry price. And, selling covered calls can always be a great way to, protect yourself and at the same time bring some extra income in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's always a smart way to go. And kind of like what we were talking about with SPCE, like if these guys have a lot of shares of SPCE, they can take advantage of this implied volatility flying up and honestly just sell those covered calls at $60. If at the end of the world they get to sell their shares of SPCE at 60, which is higher than it was when they initiated this on Friday. So overall it's a win-win for them. And with that much money on the line, like 42 million in this case, it just shows how the smart money does these kinds of things pretty often, actually.
All righty. So, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching for this week?
Man, I'm still watching AMD, some of these tech stocks trying to make them break out. Facebook tried to go to like all-time highs last week, started to get rejected, coming down a little bit now, not looking too good. Still looking for Palantir to move up through that upper resistance level, right around that to like 2750 area. Like I said, I think that could be a really high potential stock for this week if we start to see it move, as well as a couple other of the growth stocks, kind of like RUN, which we saw come down. And of course, I'm going to be watching SPCE to break up through that 60 resistance if it can. We saw this big unusual options with them with $42 million on it. So it'll definitely be interesting to watch. And if it bounces off that resistance, I think it'll kind of confirm to us that they shorted that.
Sounds good. Well, guys, if you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, plus get access to our day trading, swing trading, order flow bots, click the first link in the description down below. The coupon is expiring this week, and you'll save about $40 off. You can cancel at any time. And if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget to join Tom and I live every single morning at Market Open on the new Stocked Up Live channel. But other than that, thanks for watching.